Welcome to my channel.
What is .NET Framework?
The .NET Framework is a software framework developed by Microsoft that primarily runs on Microsoft Windows. It includes a large class library called the Framework Class Library (FCL) and provides language interoperability across several programming languages. The FCL offers user interface, data access, database connectivity, web application development, numeric algorithms, and network communications.
What is CLR and what it does?
Programs written for the .NET Framework execute in a software environment named the Common Language Runtime. The CLR is an application virtual machine that provides security, memory management, and exception handling services. Computer code written using .NET Framework is called managed code.
What are the different types of constructors in C#?
Default constructor, parameterized constructor, copy constructor, static constructor, private constructor.
What are sealed classes in C#?
Sealed classes are used to restrict the inheritance feature of object-oriented programming. Once a class is defined as a sealed class, the class cannot be inherited. In C#, the sealed modifier defines a class as sealed.
What are sealed classes in C#?
In Visual Basic.NET, the not inheritable keyword serves the purpose of the sealed class. If a class is derived from a sealed class, the compiler throws an error. If you have ever noticed, structs are sealed. You cannot derive a class from a struct.
What is the difference between class and struct in C#?
Types. Classes support inheritance, while structs do not. Structs are typically used for small data structures that do not need to be boxed frequently.
Explain in detail about OOPS concept.
Object-oriented programming (OOP) is a computer programming model that organizes software design around data or objects, rather than functions and logic. An object can be defined as a data field that has unique attributes and behavior.
What is the structure of object-oriented programming?
The structure or building blocks of object-oriented programming include the following classes are user-defined data types that act as blueprints for individual objects with attributes and methods. Objects are instances of a class created with specifically defined data. They can correspond to real-world objects or abstract entities. When a class is initially defined, only the description exists. The object itself is not defined until instantiated. Methods are functions defined inside a class that describe the behaviors of an object. Each method within class definition starts with a reference to an instance object. Subroutines contained within an object are called instance methods. Programmers use methods for reusability or to keep functionality encapsulated within one object at a time. Attributes are defined in the class template and represent the state of an object. Objects store data in their attribute fields.
What are the main principles of OOPS?
Object-oriented programming is based on the following principles. Encapsulation. This principle states that all important information is contained inside an object and only selected information is exposed. The implementation and state of each object are privately held within a defined class. Other objects cannot access this class or the authority to make changes. They can only call a list of public functions or methods. This characteristic of data hiding provides greater program security and avoids unintended data corruption. Abstraction objects only reveal internal mechanisms that are relevant for the use of other objects, hiding any unnecessary implementation details. This concept allows developers to more easily make changes or additions over time while maintaining clarity. Inheritance. Classes can reuse code from other classes, establishing relationships and subclasses between objects to reuse common logic while maintaining a unique hierarchy. This property of OOP facilitates thorough data analysis, reduces development time, and ensures higher accuracy. Polymorphism. Objects are designed to share behaviors and can take on more than one form. The program determines which meaning or usage is necessary for each execution of that object from a parent class, reducing the need for duplicated code. Child classes can extend the functionality of parent classes, allowing different types of objects to be treated through the same interface. What are the benefits of OOP? Modularity. OOP promotes modularity. by breaking down a software system into smaller self-contained objects. This makes it easier to understand, maintain, and modify code. Reusability objects and their associated methods can be reused across different projects, reducing development time and effort. Extensibility allows for easy extension of existing software components by adding new objects or modifying existing ones. This supports incremental development and the addition of new features without affecting the entire code base. Encapsulation objects in OOP encapsulate data attributes and behaviors methods into a single unit. This ensures that data is accessed and modified only through well-defined interfaces, enhancing security and preventing unintended changes. Abstraction allows developers to focus on the essential details of an object while hiding irrelevant complexities. This simplifies the programming model and improves code readability. Maintenance OOP facilitates easier maintenance and debugging of code. Changes made to one part of the code base do not necessarily affect other parts, as long as interfaces remain unchanged. Polymorphism allows objects to be treated as instances of their parent class, enabling flexibility and the ability to use a single interface for different types of objects. This promotes code reuse and simplifies the implementation of complex systems. Scalability OOP supports scalable software development, making it easier to manage large complex projects by breaking them down into manageable objects and classes. Improved code organization OOP encourages a clear modular structure, making it easier for teams to collaborate on projects and understand each other's code. Real-world modeling OOP allows developers to model real-world entities more closely, making it easier to translate real-world scenarios into code.
What are value types and reference types in C#?
Value types stored on stack. Value types store their data directly on the stack or in line for fields in structs, which is a region of memory that manages function called stacks. Contain actual data. Each variable of a value type directly contains the data it represents. When you declare a value type variable and assign it a value, that value is stored directly in the memory allocated for that variable. Memory management memory for value types is managed automatically by the compiler. It allocates memory when the variable is declared and deallocates it when the variable goes out of scope. Examples: primitive types, e.g. int, float, double char, bool, etc. struct, keyword int number 10. Reference types stored on heap. Reference types store a reference to their data object on the heap, which is a larger region of memory that manages dynamic memory allocation. Contain reference variables of reference types hold a reference or pointer to an object rather than the object itself. The actual data object is allocated on the heap and the variable stores the memory address reference where the object is located. Memory management memory for reference types is managed by the .NET Runtime's garbage collector. The garbage collector automatically allocates memory for new objects on the heap and reclaims memory for objects that are no longer in use. Example: string text hello reference type string object created on the heap list int numbers new list int reference type list object created on the heap key differences memory location. Value types store their actual data directly where the variable is allocated stack or inline for structs, while reference types store a reference pointer to the data on the heap. Copying behavior: when you assign one value type variable to another, a copy of the value is made. When you assign one reference type variable to another, you copy the reference. Both variables refer to the same object. Passing to methods: value types are passed by value. A copy of the value is passed to methods. Reference types are passed by reference. A copy of the reference is passed to methods, allowing methods to modify the object. Nullability: value types cannot be null except nullable value types, whereas reference types can be null if not initialized or if set explicitly.
Thank you for watching.
For more videos, please like and subscribe.